Hi, I'm Melanie Barr. Welcome to the She Built It Experience with Melanie. You're here because you want to experience the life and business that you crave. Join me as I talk to women who have successfully built it, a career and business that they love. We dive into the topic of how they built it and talk about everything from having the courage to make career leaps to the details of how to lead effectively, create successful teams, implement strategies for growth, and infuse tech innovation. Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. So let's dive in. I'm so thrilled to introduce Melissa Machat. Melissa is an entrepreneur and the founder of Realign Coaching and Consulting. She helps empower and teach entrepreneurs how to elevate their mindset, accelerate sales, and make the perfect hire in their business so that they can scale with ease. Melissa understands how to build and grow a business. She has over 10 years of sales experience and has sold over $100 million in residential real estate. Please tell us who you are and about your early career experiences leading to becoming the founder of Realign Coaching and Consulting.
Would love to. And thank you so much for having me. It comes from starting out in a theater performing arts background and really trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life and make money and all the things, which led me to Las Vegas, which got me into real estate, not knowing anything about it, not knowing it was commission only. I was 24 years old. It was 2009, which was the bottom of the market. A lot of realtors were leaving because they didn't want to work 2, 3, 4 times as hard for half the money. And I always say that perspective is everything because I was so used to being broke from theater and working multiple jobs trying to get by in LA. That real estate was still a lot of money to me, even though the average sales price was $100,000, which you could buy a house for less than $100,000 at the time. To me, I was like, this is still a ton of money. That led me to building a business without realizing that's what I was doing. I didn't know it was commission. I didn't know I was basically becoming an entrepreneur. Had to learn hiring and sales and leadership and all of the things that are involved in residential real estate. And that also led to burnout. It led to feeling like I wasn't enough, not good enough. I wasn't doing what I was capable of. I knew I could sell more. I didn't know how to lead other people. It wasn't working. A lot of lessons, which led me on a personal development journey. And the past 6 years have really been digging deep and figuring out why I felt this way and why things weren't working, which led me to NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, in 2019. And that 4-day certification training opened my eyes to so much of what was holding me back, how I was holding myself back. Realign was actually started within 30 days of that training and became my mission to share with other entrepreneurs.
For those that don't know anything about that kind of training, can you share with us what that actually is?
Sure. So neuro-linguistic programming is basically the language of your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs. And it was a certification training to learn not just about it, but actually teach us how to use it, whether we were a coach, whether with clients or just in our own lives. To me, it just kind of opened my eyes to why my brain was processing information the way that it was, why I was holding back, where I was feeling stuck. I was out of alignment. I was not doing what actually I wanted to do with my life. I just wasn't understanding that message coming through. So the 4-day training was an amazing eye-opening experience I complained about something for like years and a 20-minute exercise cleared it up for me. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, how did I not learn about this sooner?
It's amazing what we can do to get in our own way and to hold ourselves back. And when we put ourselves into that position of what our passions really are, how our career takes off. And when we show that to the world is so much more receptive to us in return.
Absolutely.
What has building a successful career in real estate taught you, and how does that help you in your coaching practice today?
Oh my goodness. I learned more lessons in the trenches, going through it firsthand than I ever would have probably asked for, whether it was leadership lessons, because I wanted to grow a team. And that means I had other agents who were working underneath me. I had employees. I've never, again, theater major, never had a real job in my life is what I like to call it. And here I am having someone on payroll and having standards and expectations that didn't exist. So I'd say everything I learned from 12 years in real estate has now really given me the knowledge in order to coach and teach and share now about becoming a leader, having a CEO mindset, talking about profitability. I didn't even know what a P&L was when I got my license. Someone's like, what's your P&L? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Profit and loss. What is that? I was that new and green to all of it. So yeah, I would say everything in real estate, pretty much sales, how to hire, how to lead others, how to build a business, foundations in your business, setting standards and expectations, and mindset for sure.
It's amazing how when you build a business from the ground up, you put yourself through your own business school because you have to learn every part of that business. And I have a background in sales as well. And I first started out having to pick up the phone or reach out to people I didn't know. And I'm actually so grateful for that training. And I would guess you are too, because it teaches you that persistence to get to that yes.
Absolutely. And that's what I found so fascinating entering this world of entrepreneurship and coaches and digital online businesses. A lot of people have never had sales training, and I didn't even realize that was a skill I had learned. I took all of it for granted pretty much, thinking I still haven't had a corporate job, right? Like I tend to like diminish and lower what I've learned or what I've done, because to me, it doesn't feel like anything special or anything important.
Also, if it's something you love, you just do it naturally. I actually love sales too. And sometimes sales, let's call it business development, whatever you want to call it. You know, businesses need sales, and I actually love it. It's so fun to think of a client or an opportunity and see if you can make it happen. And I would assume that's the same with you.
Yes. And to me, it's communication, it's language, it's understanding people. And now I teach about sales and rapport and how to read other people and speak their language. And there's so much more to it. I think that's my favorite part, is kind of reframing the mindset behind it, instead of feeling like, I love when people say, oh, I'm not a pushy salesperson. I don't want to be a pushy. I'm like, who does? No one asked you to do that. Like, please don't do that. Sales is helping people. And so kind of seeing that transformation that happens when people learn that it's not about hard, pushy closing and like nobody wants that.
No. And there's definitely a psychology to it. And when you put yourself in the mindset of you're helping someone with what you're providing them, it's so much easier.
Definitely. And I love that we're talking about this, because literally this morning, that's the videos I was recording, was all about sales and teaching and putting a mini digital course together. Because I find that this is something that so many people have just never learned. And I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, I didn't even realize I was learning it as I was in it, and objection handlers and scripts. And like you said, the psychology behind it, there's so much to it.
And negotiating.
Exactly. And we like to call it, the company that I'm with for real estate, we like to call it win-win. What's the win-win, right? How does everybody win in this situation? And I think when you come at negotiations from a place of everyone not even compromising, but what is the benefit everybody is looking for? Again, I think there is a lot of the psychology, the mindset, getting deep into why somebody wants something in the first place.
Tell us about your most memorable experience that you've had while building your business in real estate.
There's quite a few. I'd say the big aha for me was understanding what boundaries, standards, and expectations actually meant. I had hired employees. I had no idea if they were the right person or not. Were they doing their job? It's especially entrepreneurship, real estate. There is no one way. There is no set way. So you could hire an assistant, for example, and okay, now what? It's not a one size fits all. Everyone's different. Everyone's business is different. And so I made my first hire in 2013 and just made a lot of mistakes in not understanding if it was the right person. Was it me? So I think the biggest lesson was realizing that a lot of the times when I was beating myself up and thinking I wasn't a good leader and I'm not a good business owner and it's not working and it must be me, I actually didn't have the right people around me. And it's not a pointing fingers. It's not, oh, it was their fault, not mine. No, it was 100% my fault. But my ownership in it was not holding them to standards and expectations and not being clear. But that to me was probably the biggest lesson in I figured that out or really learned it finally in like 2019. Like it took 6 years of me feeling like it must be my fault. It's all me. If it's not working, I'm a terrible leader, and punishing myself, blaming myself, feeling guilt. And then I understood to look at evidence and is it clear what's expected of them? And did they do it or did they not? And that changed everything.
When you're wearing all the hats, it can be really hard because you've got all the balls in the air and you got to make sure that they don't drop. So it can be hard to either train someone, or sometimes you can get complacent and think, oh, well, the work's getting done. But the important question really is it getting done in the way that you want it to go for your business?
And there's a difference between checking boxes off a list and like helping you grow, improving systems. And again, everyone that has worked for me in the past, there were amazing opportunities, amazing relationships. And I also see now where I held myself back in the business to go get more business, which really was my main job. And I would take my foot off the gas. I would hold back. I would shut down because I felt like we couldn't handle it, because we didn't have systems in place, because there were mistakes happening. And I didn't understand that's what was going on. I looked at it again as, why am I not pushing through? Why am I not sucking it up? Why am I not doing more? Why am I taking my foot off the gas and sabotaging? I didn't understand it's because the business physically couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I was already shutting down, breaking down.
You're only one person. And if the right people aren't in place, you can't do it all yourself.
Yes. And so even though I had help, that's what I mean. It wasn't the right help where we weren't growing. And I didn't understand why. So again, I blame myself. So that's been a lot of the personal work I've been working on over the years, is that it's not about punishing yourself and blaming yourself. That's not what taking ownership and responsibility means. Because that's what I had heard. As the leader, it's all on your shoulders. If it's not working, it's you. If your people aren't working, it's you, right? So I took that almost too literally.
It's so amazing what happens when we have the right people in place that are living their passions and doing what they wake up every day excited to do. And this is such good information for our listeners, because I know, as all the type A leadership personalities listening to this podcast, we have all been there and we have all had that experience. So it's always really good to hear a reminder too, so we can go back to those moments and still continue to grow, because we all want to grow and keep innovating. So it's a good reminder to check in with ourselves and make sure we're not lagging in any of those areas where we really want to be innovative.
Exactly.
What gave you the courage to launch and open Realign Coaching and Consulting? What made you decide to make that life and career leap?
So this is something that had been on my mind and in my heart for a long time. I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I wanted to speak and teach. And I had that limiting belief of, who am I to do this? I haven't achieved enough. I haven't accomplished enough. I'm not there yet. So someday when I don't know, when I triple my business, I had crazy rules around when I would be ready. And that's what was so powerful about that NLP training, is I realized the reason I wasn't tripling my business and growing the real estate business and doing all the things is because that's not what I really wanted to be doing. And so I put this standard on myself of, well, I have to suck it up and do it. Otherwise, I haven't earned the right to go do what I really want. Which also meant that because it wasn't working, I took that, again, literally, is like, I'm not meant to be doing any of this at all. So therefore, I guess I'll never get to have what I want. I guess I just have to suffer. I mean, it's I know, theater background, very dramatic.
It's so interesting that you say this, because you had a successful business in real estate. So to come from that place, this is so good for our listeners to hear, because we have all felt like this in the past. We could be happy in our lives. We could be successful in making money in our careers, but still feel like we're not enough.
Yes. And that's the thing. I was seeing recognition externally, right? Like I was getting recognized in my brokerage. I was getting recognized in different places in Las Vegas and all the things. But I was surrounded by people doing so much more than me that I felt like I wasn't even doing anything. Like I was embarrassed about like how little I was doing, which, saying that now, I'm like, oh my gosh, if the average agent sells 4 homes a year and, 12 homes a year, you're in like the top 25%. And I think my biggest was 44 homes by myself, not buying leads, not having a friends or family or sphere here. I literally cold called, door knocked, was on the phones every day. But in the moment, I'm like, but it's not 100, it's not 75. I was still so far behind, but I wasn't even comparing apples to apples because people do buy leads in their business. And some people are really successful and they spend a lot of money on marketing. And I wasn't doing any of it, but I was almost convinced to think that what I was doing still wasn't enough. And so I really believed like this still isn't anything. And when I tell people, like the look on your face right now, when I tell people like, no, I did it without leads, without knowing anyone, literally cold calling every single day. Oh, that actually is that. Yeah, that does take some skill.
A tremendous amount. And what you built is amazing. And this is a really good reminder because we all feel like this at times. We can look at things on social media and think, oh, I'm not far enough, right? But it's to have joy in where you are today and to keep putting one foot in front of the other until you grow to where you really want to be and have that belief in yourself. But this is such a good reminder because we have all felt like this at times, especially during the time at home.
Oh, for sure. And I actually want to share, it was the NLP training that helped me get out of my own way and realize I am ready. There was one other thing I heard that really helped. It's not that you have to have achieved it yourself. You have to be able to see it and have the vision. The best sports coaches are not necessarily the best players. And a lot of coaches use that as their own marketing pitch of, well, I achieved this success, so why would you listen to someone who hasn't done it themselves? And that's what was playing in the back of my head is, well, I haven't done it yet. But did I know exactly what it would have taken to do it? Yes. Do I see the path and how someone would need to get there? Absolutely. Could I help somebody? And that was kind of the reframe for me that made me start to see like, hold on a second, what am I waiting for? I absolutely know how to build and grow a business. And I started slowly realizing, hold on a second, pre-qualifying a listing appointment is the same thing as pre-qualifying a coaching client. It completely applies. I just keep forgetting or wanting to convince myself otherwise. But that was a huge shift for me is kind of that, like, you just need to be like one step ahead, or you need to be able to see where they need to go. It's not that you physically had to do it.
You're so right, because even looking at technology today, there is so much out there and there is no way that any one single person has a handle on all of it. So it's having the confidence in ourselves to say, I'm going to figure this particular piece out, right? Don't look at the whole entire puzzle, go piece by piece, because to your point, it's easy to think, oh, I don't know enough.
Yeah, we're never going to know it all, right? I think knowing and information is not the issue. It is taking messy action. And by the way, you're never going to feel ready. It's never going to be perfect. It really is just taking that jump and going for it and realizing that you're going to call the right people to you. And not everybody clicks with everyone. So this is something I have to remind myself daily. I am different than everyone else out there. So I might say the exact same thing as somebody else, but they might go to them because they click with them, or they might come to me because they click with me. So it's this scarcity mentality. Well, everybody's doing it. It's saturated. It's who am I to do it? Well, there's people out there who click with you and your message and the way you deliver it.
So true. I love messy action. And you're right. Completely believe that there is space for everyone.
Absolutely.
What do you like the most about what you do now?
I love the freedom to create exactly what I want that supports me, that I can make a difference and impact, help others. And there's literally no rules in terms of what it has to look like, what I'm supposed to be doing. It's given me so much space and time back in my life that I didn't even realize I didn't have for so many years. I was truly go, 24/7, hustle, grind it out 7 days a week. And even when I thought I was scaling back and slowing down, I wasn't. I was still probably working 50, 60 plus hours a week on my computer on weekends. We tend to just say yes and pile it on. Let's go. So that's been, I think, the biggest gift is this has really taught me so much on what getting my life back actually means and what that looks like in space to just kind of be.
So true. And I love how you say there are no rules, because coming from your background, and I come from a corporate background in my early career, you get used to structure. And then when you make that leap to become an entrepreneur, you feel like you have to follow these rules. And then one day you wake up and you think, wait, there are no rules. I'm setting the rules. I'm building whatever it is I'd like to build or create. And how beautiful. So that's really great. And I'm sure that you really love when you have a successful relationship with a coaching client.
Absolutely. And to me, these conversations, teaching, speaking, creating these digital courses, it really is my happy place. And seeing the transformation that can happen, seeing someone realize, oh, wait a second, I don't need to beat myself up because I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. I thought I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful, or whatever it is. That to me, that's just so empowering and inspiring to see getting that freedom and their time back. It's amazing.
And I know that everything you're saying is resonating with listeners, because even if we are successful and we are doing really good things in the world, those moments still, and I'm a pretty positive person, but even with the most positive person, those thoughts can creep back in occasionally.
We're human. And I think we forget that sometimes. As I was doing a lot of the inner work and the healing and all of the things, I asked my coach at the time, I thought I wasn't supposed to get upset or depressed, or, I'm doing all the work. Why am I still feeling this way? And her response, I will never forget it, was, Melissa, you're human. You're going to feel emotions. It's not having a disproportionate or overreaction. But if something bad happens, you have every right to feel upset or to be sad. And I think that's a huge thing, especially in society, suppressing our emotions and hiding it. I shouldn't feel this way. When entrepreneurship is the most intense roller coaster of emotions, I joked with someone the other day that, that like roller coaster looking thing, it's like, I feel great. Oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Like it's this up and down thing. And I made a comment that I sometimes go through that hourly. Depending on the hour, I'm either life is amazing, or like an hour later, I'm like, what am I doing? Who am I? It's not going to work. Who's going to buy it?
I think that's a scale of type A. If you're really type A, I think you can go through those flows pretty quickly.
Yeah. And they were like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm fine. It's just a day in the life. Like this is part of it. So yeah, I think this is where having support systems, having mastermind groups, that's what I've learned. Having a support system to help you get through those a little faster so you don't get stuck there.
100%. What is your strategy for management, for staying on task to accomplish what you set out to do, and for motivating your teams?
My first response that came up was delegate. So
right.
Get as much off my list as possible. I would say it's making sure you're staying in your strength zone and staying really focused on what actually matters. I have a really long list of things to do today. But if I really looked at it, what actually matters and would move the business forward is 2 things. But why are there 20 on there? So I think that's my tactic, is to prioritize, get really clear. If it's not in your strength zone, if it doesn't really matter, delete it, delegate it, save it for another time where you do the minor tasks. And same thing with my team. I'm always reminding them what actually matters. What are you doing right now that our administrative assistant could take over? What are you doing that you could get support with, especially real estate? Right now, it's a little crazy. Buyers agents are running around writing 50 offers. It's a little intense. So we've even started delegating showings. Where can you get an hour back in your life and have somebody else do it for you? That's been huge for everybody.
Really good advice to look at what's the most important and to let those little things fall off or put off until tomorrow. How has your business shifted over the last year? What obstacles have you been able to overcome, and what successes have you had?
It's been a lot of self-discovery and figuring out what I even want this business to look like, and realizing how much I was still overcommitted to. So last year in my head, I was full-time with Realign, and I didn't realize it. I was also still full-time in real estate. I sold 11 homes. I was leading a team. I was in COVID. There was probably 100 things on my plate that were like not actually moving my business forward. The last year, the biggest challenge was kind of finding myself again and what I wanted this to look like. Again, not following other people's rules, really just staying true to myself and figuring out what that looked like. And then I'd say the biggest win was actually stepping out of real estate sales January 1st.
Congratulations. Good for you.
Thank you. And it's so funny because that was something I'd wanted for years. That was my dream, was to run a business and a team. And I don't sell, they handle it. And what's hilarious about all of this, and just in exactly on point of what we've been talking about, I wasn't ready. The business wasn't thriving. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to step out now. Everything's perfect. I just decided that was it. I just decided to stop saying yes when a past client or a referral came in, because it was like my kryptonite. I was like, oh, it's just one more deal. Oh, it's just a listing. Oh, it's $1 million client. It can't be that much time and energy. And that's like so not how it works in real estate. So
your business is your baby though, and you built it. And for anyone building a business, I don't think there's ever a right time. I think everybody needs that push to make the leap out, either out of the business to relax and go do something else, or to build another business. So good for you for making that leap and transition.
Thank you. All of a sudden I have all this time to actually create this business I wanted, to create digital courses and record podcasts and do all the things. If this was 6 months ago, my schedule was literally back to back all day, every single day. I wouldn't even have time to do anything until after like 6 or 7 o'clock. I can't even answer emails yet. How did I manage to keep putting more and more on my schedule? That I had these ideas for courses. I had these ideas for podcasts and speaking and teaching. I didn't give myself any room or time to actually do it. So it's been a game changer.
Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. What is one tip you can leave with us today about how you find and live your joy?
Okay. So this is probably like my favorite topic ever, and my favorite quote, that when you're in alignment, you don't need accountability or force, because you're inspired to take action. You're true to who you are. You're literally in your strength zone. You are inspired to take action. You are inspired to make things happen. You don't need more discipline. You're not avoiding, procrastinating. That's where the magic happens. That's where ease and flow exists. That's where you can do more with less, because you are happy. You are attracting more abundance to you because you're abundant and happy and joyful. And it sounds counterintuitive for our type A overachieving go-getters. I need to do more. And it's not about doing more. It's doing less and attracting it to you.
So true. I love it. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you please tell our listeners how and where they can find you?
Yes. So Instagram at Melissa Machat. I created a quiz that is 9 questions, and it's helping you see where you might be stuck in your business or where the next step is to grow your business. So that you can find at melissamachat.com/quiz.
If you are new to She Built It, we'd love for you to join us. We offer community memberships, masterminds, innovative virtual events, and meaningful connections to entrepreneurs and corporate leaders. Please also check out our She Built It shop, curated products from women-owned businesses who put their heart and soul into their beautiful and innovative products. We offer She Built It business consulting and the She Built It blog. Thank you to everyone around the world who joined today. Thank you to my editor, Rich Straffolino. Please download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, together, let's let nothing stop us from experiencing the life that we crave.